Hi everyone. So there's a bunch of things you need to know for your quiz coming up, but the calculation part of the quiz is mostly on segments, and there's two types of problems, and we're going to try to do a lot of comparing and contrasting here to be good with this. So you're going to have a classwork assignment on these types of problems on this page and an algebra page looking the same way, and then you're going to have a separate assignment to review things that are not calculating or are related to number lines and are a lot easier. All right, first, what's the difference between this page, the problems on this page? Well, first thing, on the left, we have the word between. Look at the pictures. Look where the between point is. It's not perfectly in the middle. Versus these problems on the right have the word midpoint. And if you look at where those points are, they are perfectly in the middle. The math is different for these types of problems. So let's start with the left. What do we do with between problems? If we have BA is 9 and AC is 20, we're trying to find BC, which notice goes all the way from B to C. The math to do here is to add 9 plus 20 and get 29. But be careful, you don't always add. Sometimes you already have the whole number there. 48, if you notice, goes all the way from the left to E to all the way to the right to F. So you do the opposite and you subtract. And you get an answer of 7. Not bad, not hard. Midpoint problems, on the other hand, are a little different. The part on the left is equal to the part on the right. So the part on the left was 16, the part on the right, GI, is 16. And then, like the problem right next to it here, you still add, because we're putting the parts together. Make it bigger. H to I all the way across is 32. Versus here, notice 62 is all the way across, but I can't subtract like the one to the left of it, because there's nothing to subtract with. I have to figure out what to do when this problem on the part on the left here is equal to this part on the right. And the way to do it is to divide, and you get this part is 31, and this part is 31. Just like on the top right problem, 16 and 16, the two parts are the same. On the bottom right problem, 31 and 31, the two parts are the same. All right, so as you can see here, we have a page full of problems, and there was no algebra here, but it was just dealing with problems with numbers. All right, now what's the equivalent things to do with the exact same four types of problems, but with algebra? So on the previous page, there was only numbers, and on this page, there's only algebra. How do we do it? Well, the same idea of adding on the first one. Not so much the subtraction, adding versus subtraction, but when you get to between problems, the way to do these problems is the first part of the picture, excuse my handwriting, plus the second part of the picture. I'm going to rewrite this a little bit nicer as my handwriting was off. Let me try this here. First part of the picture plus the second part of the picture equals the whole thing. The challenge to some people is they read first part and second part, and immediately in their mind they're like, first plus second equals third. Well, no, careful, there is no third part. There's a first part of the picture, not the first thing you see, but the first part of the picture, which is usually on the left. The second part of the picture is the part on the right, and the whole thing is labeled going all the way across. So the first part of the picture is 2x. Second part of the picture is not 55. It's 5x minus 1. And the whole thing is 55. At that point there, you need to solve out the algebra. You're going to combine like terms together. 7x minus 1 equals 55. I'm out of space here, so I'm just going to say out loud what I would do next. I'd add plus 1 to both sides to get 56. Divide by 7, 56 divided by 7. The answer is x is 8. And then you need to substitute the value back in. So let me use purple here. MP is 5x minus 1. You have to take your answer that you get from x and substitute it back in. We get a number of 39. This next problem is the exact same type of problem. The only difference with this one here than the one above it is on the first problem, the number 55 was going all the way across and was the whole thing. But on this one here, 8y plus 2 is going all the way across. This is the whole thing. For whatever reason, some people do so many problems like the top left that they think the number has to come last. No, look at the picture. The first part of the picture is 6y minus 7. What's the second part of the picture? And the second part of the picture is the part on the right. 6y minus 7 is the small part on the left. 31 is the small part on the right. And 8y plus 2 is the whole thing. Combine like terms together. Negative 7 plus 31 is 24. Couple possible algebra steps you could take next here. The step I'm going to take is minus 8y minus 8y. And at that point there, you would get negative 2y plus 24 equals 2. I'm out of space, so I'm going to do the last couple steps out loud, but not write them down. Subtract 24 from both sides. 2 minus 24 would be negative 22. And then take negative 22 divided by negative 2, and you would get 11 as your answer for y. Then it's asking to plug it back in, and it's asking to plug it back into RS, the whole thing. 8 times your answer to y plus 2. 8 times 11 plus 2, which works out to 90. Yep. And those numbers add up and work if you plug them back in and double check them. Now the problem's on the right. Easier. Midpoint. Midpoint means the first part of the picture equals the second part of the picture. Easier algebra. First part of the picture equals the second part of the picture. No real math to do. Couple algebra steps that are really easy. 9a equals 36. Divide by 9. Divide by 9, divide by 9. You get a equals 4. Then let's know what uv is. There's a couple different ways to do this. One would have been to plug 4 back in, and you get that ut is 37. But you could have just known here at the beginning that 37 on the right plus 37 on the left would have to add up to 74, equaling the whole thing. You didn't actually have to do the algebra to figure out uv. Now, this next problem is the harder type of midpoint. We have a problem here on the left. We have a part here on the right that have to be the same. There's a couple different ways to do this, but the way I'd like to teach it is midpoint means the two pieces are the same. So that piece on the left, 3b plus 1, is the same as the part on the right, 3b plus 1. So now we go back to do problems just like we were doing on the left. First part plus second part. Notice the first and second parts are the exact same things. Equals 80. You have twice as big. Instead of 3b, we have 6b when we combine them together. 1 plus 1 combines to 2 equals 80. There is a way to do this problem for those of you thinking that if the whole thing was 80, one little piece of it could have been just 40, and you could have set 3b plus 1 equal to 40, you would have gotten the same answer. Because when you solve this all out, you get b is 13, and when you plug 13 back in, like I was just saying out loud, you would have to get 40 as the part on the right. Anyway, these are problems involving algebra. So these problems with algebra and the simpler problems with numbers. You're going to have 7 problems coming up. 4 of them are going to be just like these 4 here. 3 of them are going to be solving algebra and plugging back in. Those 7 problems should get done during class today. Please check with your teacher on did you get the right answers as you're submitting them and as you're working on them. You'll probably breeze through the 4 problems that are just numbers like these ones here, but it'll take you some time with the algebra. That's your goal to do during in class today, is make sure you have your algebra questions right so you're set with them. You have a worksheet. You're going to need to submit that worksheet through Picture. It's just 7 problems. Let me know if there's anything else you need. Take care, everybody, and we do have a quiz tomorrow. These are the harder topics. There's a bunch of easier topics that you guys will be working on to gear up before we take the quiz tomorrow. Take care, everyone.